Welcome to Behind the Veil. Uh, this is our kind of like review decompression podcast for our Table for Two, where we break down everything that happens in our campaign and we talk about themes and concepts and how we feel about everything. We just finished recording episode 9, for which I was the dungeon master. I'm Nick Kennedy, and joining me as always is.
Janna Harrison. I was the player for this episode of Table for Two.
Yeah, and you became somebody else, somebody new. Oh,
Oh,
sorry, episode 10. We just finished recording episode 10, by the way.
well, we'll go with our season finale of season one, is what we finished recording.
Yeah.
So
High stakes. What are you feeling? What are you thinking at the moment?
um, that was the big one. First of all, but beautiful storytelling all around. I'm always like just completely taken away with um, the immersiveness from like incorporating senses, sound, smell, just that complete like immersion into the story. So uh, fantastically done. I was super stoked for that.
Thank you.
But just still kind of wrapping my head around it. Like I knew it was coming. I knew we were gonna be in for a big one. But I kind of like emotionally prepared myself for it, but it was still like one of those like, oh wow, that was a big, that was a heavy one. So
Yeah. I kind of knew that was going to happen too. I didn't know what shape it was going to take. I think I told you last time I wrote 9 and 10 at the same time. Um, because this just kind of to me stemmed from the last one kind of smoothly and easily. But there was still a lot of impromptu details that kind of came out of nowhere.
yeah,
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know how I feel right now.
yeah. I guess that's like one of the things I was wondering because like when both of us started up, there were some things like we definitively knew. Like we knew what who the patron was going to be ultimately, but we did not know like where the story was going to end. Like we figured like the story was just going to eventually take us there.
Mm.
How did you eventually like come to that? Was it like you built like a oh god, what were the stories? The tell your own or the choose your own adventure stories? Like you just kind of have like a if this, go to page 93.
Sort of, yeah, not quite that detailed. A lot of this, I think, we talked about this a little bit last time, has just sort of sprung up naturally as we have taken turns telling the story. It has kind of laid itself out for us. I feel like, it's easy. It seems like it's easier to just kind of bounce ideas back and forth and build off of what the other person is doing when they're writing or doing when they're playing. We kind of get all of this narrative momentum going in the process naturally. So it doesn't feel like there's a ton of like planning that I've put into it necessarily. It all just kind of seems to sort of make sense. But um,
Yeah.
in line with that, while this is the end to season one, it isn't necessarily the end of the story, right? So it felt like for me, this seemed like the right place to stop this part of the story. Um,
Mhm.
this isn't going to be the end of the character. We will see um, some version of this character again in the future. In season two, they won't be the player character anymore. They won't be the main focus of the story, but that doesn't mean their story is over. Their contribution to the story has just changed now.
Right. And I think there's something kind of like beautiful about that, like just understanding like I think that's something like as a player, you kind of like get sad when you have like your final like and you're like, oh well, what happens to my character after? Like this is the end for them. Um, but understanding like that's not the true end. Like we're gonna see them again. There is a continuity to it. I love getting to see that as a player, like, oh, like this isn't the true end. I mean, granted, like this is very dark for our
Mm-hmm.
characters. I'm like, oh man, what is gonna happen? Um, I also feel like for Quinn and Reeve, this was very much like a tale of like consequences of your actions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not heeding the warnings of others.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there were a lot of signs that were kind of woven in, like, hey, if you do this, it's not what you expect.
Right.
Um, and I feel like we even saw that in the first episode.
Yeah. It's a theme painted like right at the beginning, right? Like there are consequences to your actions, and you don't understand the full weight or meaning of those things in the moment.
Yeah. Um, which I thought was something that was very well woven into the story that we told was, this foreshadowing, this sense of like foreboding as we went through. Like it's not all it's cut out to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just kind of like that constant push for desire, like what we want is what we want, regardless of the consequences.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes like you don't know that what you're asking for is bad for you, right? Like ambition is a very powerful motivator, but you don't always know what lies on the other side of it. I read this really interesting quote a couple of days ago. I forget who said it, so I'm not going to try to attribute it accurately, but um, something along the lines of it's unreasonable to expect characters to know what genre they're in. Like the player character has no idea. Quinn, Reeve, they don't understand that they're in a cosmic horror story or a body horror story. They're experiencing those things. What small kind of like window they are viewing their world through is shaped entirely by how they see themselves and what they've always wanted. And so I think in that sense, to me, the story really has always kind of made sense that they just continue pursuing this ambitious goal despite the
Mm-hmm.
warnings. Um, but at the same time, incapable of really comprehending the ramifications of their choices. So I think like ultimately we were gonna end up with a semi dark ending to this season, this part of the story, right? But I think that's why for me I liked the idea of keeping it still somewhat open ended. I didn't
Yeah.
want this to be an actual ending, I want there to be more to come for the
Mm-hmm.
character and for the story, the greater story as well.
Yeah. And I really love that too, because you see the ambitions too, and you start to see like last episode 9, Quinn starts to question their choices.
Mm-hmm.
Quinn, like it seems like a moment of weakness to Reeve, but Quinn is like, are we taking this too far? Like, is this really the right choice? Like, maybe we do need to start examining this.
Mm-hmm.
And you have this like other voice that's now like, no, we're so close. Like, why would we stop? And Reeve really is that character of drive, that character who is going to push it too far, the character who is going to like ultimately like take it to the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Like Reeve said, like I've always been on the edge. Where else would I go?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it felt like Reeve maybe pulled Quinn back in a little bit too, but I think at the same time, I kind of had this impression of, I think Quinn coming to terms with the idea of like just letting go of control, letting go of their own thoughts, desires, ambitions, or whatever, and letting Reeve drive, essentially.
Yeah. Well, the question at the end, like, Quib, do you want to live in the fractures? Are you okay with that?
Right. And in what sense, yeah, like what is that existence going to mean moving forward?
And I kind of love like the question that you asked too, like what else did Quinn lose? Or what else do you lose? And I really intentionally like made it like Quinn lost something that was something they had prided themselves on,
Mm-hmm.
which was their intellect. And they essentially descended into this childlike madness.
Mm-hmm.
Because now what had happened is Reeve was now bound to two things. Something that Reeve did not want. Reeve wanted freedom. They wanted power.
Mm-hmm.
And now Reeve was bound by being the keeper of Quinn and bound by being the keeper or the vessel of their patron.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked how those consequences came out.
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of continue exploring that a little bit more in the next season. Again, they are not going to be our main focus for the
Right.
next season, but I think there's still an opportunity to maybe revisit some of those themes with them, maybe later on down the line, um,
Yeah.
and just see what that means for them. If there's any opportunity for a second chance or redemption of some sort for either of them. I think there is, like contextually, mechanically, as far as like the game works. I think based off of what you rolled, there's a little bit of a window for um, some of either Quinn or Reeve to still exist and maybe try to reassert themselves. But for the time being, they are both functionally gone. Um, but they're lovely characters, and it would be great to have them back at some point and to have an opportunity, at least, for them to be redeemed or saved in some way. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I think it'd definitely be interesting to see how that eventually does shape out or play out. Um, Beautifully done.
That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a little worried there for a bit. I didn't want to make things too, um, I didn't want to go too dark or too like. I didn't want to catastrophize the whole process necessarily, right? But um, I, I, I hope it was at least a little creepy, but just not too
No, it
creepy.
was so good. I love like the full circle moment. Like I thought it was really like even just in the combat encounter with the creatures that when you had the portal open and we were able to see um, into the other world because we had had so many visions of this alternate reality
Mm-hmm.
and we'd never necessarily like given it a name or hinted at what it actually was. We just said, no, you see this other reality and you have the golden throne appear too. Um, I think it really did it neatly tied up a lot of the stuff that we had been like alluding to throughout the season and throughout our different um, sessions. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was so just the different layers of it was just wonderful. Um, yeah, and then including the mosaic, like I know that like Reeve was like, oh, it comes full circle, like, and it felt really cool for me as the player because that was something like when I had DM'd the library episode, like that was the mosaic that I incorporated and like a little bit of like the meta came out. I was like, oh, it's full circle, here we go. And the mosaic is also a circle. So I was like, ah, here we are.
Yeah. I think I saw that like realization come over your face while I was describing where you are. Um, that was yeah. I'm glad you were excited about that too. Um,
Yeah, like son of a bitch, you did it.
we spent pretty much all of this season just in the city of Varnes. Um, so I feel like it did make sense to just kind of keep the rest of the story rooted here and tie it back to all of the places that things kind of make sense narratively, anyways. Um,
Yeah,
But next season we'll get to explore a little bit more outside of the city, which I'm excited for also.
Yeah. No, I think that'll be really fun to dive deeper into what the rest of the world of Atomnia looks like. And I am so excited about doing that deeper dive and seeing outside of ours. And like we haven't shown anyone yet, or like just what we've been working on, like even just like the collateral and the graphics. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
they're so beautiful, and the colors and just the vibe.
Yeah, honestly, the stuff you put together to yeah, really really captures like the feel of the next story really really well. I'm excited for people to see that.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited, and um I think we'll probably be stepping away a little bit from the horror, and I think we'll be diving more into. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Probably something a little more like fantastical.
Yeah, absolutely. It might be a little bit more whimsical. There might still
Yeah,
be some horror elements here or there, but I think there'll be other moments of a lot more moments of maybe exploration and like joy and wonder at the weirdness of the wild world, that kind of thing.
yeah. Which I think it'll be really cool too, because essentially what we have now seen is the veil has broken.
Hmm.
There is now magic back in the world. Something that was once fading is now like unleashed.
Yep.
So what is this going to look like, and how is it going to impact the world that that has been found, or that has been it's been very minuscule, it's been
Hmm.
very moderated, I guess the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, and diminishing, right? So its effect
Yeah,
has become less and less important as people have started to rely on other means of surviving. And suddenly the whole world is just suffused in this grand power, essentially. So, yeah, like what are the implications of that? Excuse me.
yeah. So like folks definitely stay tuned. We'll be releasing like teasers as we get closer to season two, what to expect, and you'll check out our Instagram and other socials to see like what's coming out and how that's looking. But um, it, I guess Nick, like, what was your favorite moment from tonight's session?
Um, whew, that's a tough question. Honestly, it might be when you struck down the roper with the nat 20. That was just so good. Um, yeah, I love like we're not a very combat focused story necessarily. At least we haven't been, but I still love when those moments of like things just go well the way you want them to. Like you were rolling really good. Um, I was trying to ramp up the tension and whatnot and make it fun and exciting still. But I always hate like balance has been a weird thing for us in combat encounters in this campaign because Quinn is really soft and squishy, Reeve's a little bit more robust, um, but it's still really easy to like overwhelm a party when there's only like two people in the party, Marin and Quinn or Reeve. So feeling like it was balanced just sufficiently to make it fun and exciting without actually like almost killing you, and seeing how triumphant Reeve was in this moment of this is my body now. I'm going to defend it and carry out my ambitions, and just like really how well you as the player owned that, and then how that translates to like the character owning themselves to me was just really cool.
Yeah, I think that you are probably one of the most like thoughtful DMs when I think of like good like combat encounters as far as balancing them. Like you really do pop out to me as like a good solid balance. And honestly, like the luck with the dice, I buy a lot of my dice from like my really good friends, like I that I've met through Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So the recipe is like they're all made with love. That's what I'm gonna say. It's like dumb luck and made with love.
Mm-hmm.
So
You are, yeah, very blessed because you get a lot of just perfectly timed. The
Yeah,
luck kicks in.
yeah, that's really what it is. Like, shout out to all like my dice besties who are out there, like always make me like the most beautiful, wonderful, incredible creations. Um, if folks are interested, like one day I'll have to like share my dice collection and maybe like the palettes that I have.
Yeah, because you
I don't know if
pick different based off of like which characters you're playing, right?
oh yeah, which characters I'm playing, like what's the vibe for the evening. I'm probably gonna put myself on blast a little bit and might get a little bit of judgment, but I've actually like excelled out all of my dice, and I have over 200 sets of dice. So we'll leave it there.
Oh my god. I thought I had a lot.
To be fair, I also do make dice, so
Right.
some of those are like homemade dice. So
It is your job. It's research, right? Market
it's
research.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we'll just leave it there.
Do you have any other like dice rituals or anything like right before setting down for a session or anything like that?
um, I am I am incredibly superstitious too. Like I am very much like I check my dice, I see what's rolling well, like before I start a session. Like if something's like off for the night, I'm like, we'll probably like have you sit out this night. Um, I really do try to like go with like what's rolling friendly that night, as well. So like I'll kind of like do like group roles and see like, okay, like who's playing well together and like who's like matching the vibe and
Yeah.
who's like got friendly energy. Um, I don't do so much of the like charging dice stuff because I feel like that does throw off like the balanced juju.
Mm-hmm.
Not like the I have a whole like rant about balanced dice when people are like, oh, well, handmade dice aren't balanced. Like, please go sit the fuck down. I don't want to hear it.
Right.
All dice are balanced. Like, unless you're buying like casino dice, like just get off.
Right.
Um, but like as far as like the juju, the like the most random rolls or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or like these lucky rolls, like, I don't do the charging or anything like that. I really do just go like, hey, who's playing well together tonight? Like
Mm-hmm.
who's gonna be nice in the sandbox? Um, I also have like specific bags that they go in. So I have dice bags that I get from one specific maker. Am I allowed to shout them out? Because
Yeah.
I kind of want to. A Stitch in Time and Space. She's amazing. Like makes some of the most beautiful bags I've ever seen. Um, pretty much all of my bags are by her, but just the vibe of the character is based on that bag. Like my table for two dice bag, it's like a color shifting one.
Oh yeah.
So it felt perfect with the duality of what we do. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna feed in very nicely the next season too.
Yeah,
um,
it is.
so yeah. Again, it really is like I try to build a vibe with what I'm doing. I also like my trays. Like I have very specific trays I play with. I have a great friend, Kristen Bones. Again, another shout out. My koozie that I'm usually using. He makes beautiful handmade trays, and he made me a custom one that I use for all of my rolls, and it makes a beautiful sound every single time I roll. So
Well, since we're,
that's
I'm also a little superstitious. I use basically the same thing every time. I don't know if this will show up. The
mm, mm,
Wormwood Death Saves coffin for storage and rolling. So I usually just keep like one set in there at a time, and that's what I'll play with for a while until I stop cooperating. Then I'll switch out to something else. But I always keep them in that little coffin vault there.
yeah. Eventually we'll have to like I will post in like our stories like who are the makers that we like to go to get dice. So got to promote the folks like definitely all small businesses. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
we'll get
that's
all of
one other thing I wanted to touch on. At least this season, we've had so much like just kindness from the community, great support from a lot of other, not just fans, but also other creators too. We've heard from a lot of the dice makers and other podcast content creators and whatnot. People have just been so wonderful. So we will absolutely be doing what we can to return the love and share more of what those people do and help kind of spotlight them for a bit because there's some amazing people in the community, and we've been really blessed to hear from a lot of them. So
Yeah, for sure. So we'll definitely look at season 2, how we start incorporating that more often. So we'll probably start like planning in our behind the veil like highlight spots, I think.
yeah, that's a great idea.
um, yeah, but any other superstitions that you like to share, or like anyone you want to spotlight as far as your go-to folks?
um, I haven't bought dice in a while, to be totally honest. I need to. Um, I buy dice from you mostly now, so shout out Moon Bear Dice, everyone. Um, there was one other creator here in Arizona that we in the family like a lot. I'm spacing on their name right now. It'll come back to me later. We'll have to make sure to feature them at some point. But man, what was it? Nope, it's not gonna pop up. I'll have to like do some digging through Instagram for the memory to come back. And yeah, I personally don't have too many other like rituals or anything. I think if anything, I'm more superstitious about. Well, maybe not even superstitious. I'm more ritualistic about like how and when I write and create and think about stuff.
Ooh, tell me more.
It's more that just like I have to kind of be in the right frame of mind, so I will do my best to like set the scene for myself. Certain music, no other distractions, that kind of stuff. Nothing like super intense, but it's really just making sure I'm like mentally prepared to be in a different space. So it's got to like honestly, a lot of the times I try to use writing as a way to distract myself from work. So there's a lot of times where I should be doing something else, and that's when I feel the most inspired to do this instead. So
Oh, 110%. I feel that so much. The music though, I'm super curious because I am definitely somebody that when I get in a writing mood, I have to have on music, absolutely.
mm,
And I'm very specific about the music, depending on like the tone that I'm trying to set with the game. Um, but like my really weird quirk, and I don't know if like other people are like this, I cannot listen to music with the lyrics when I'm writing.
yeah, that makes sense. I don't either. It's too distracting.
Yeah, and that was like kind of one of the things. Like I find like the lyrics, like when I start doing things like that, I get super distracted by it,
Mm.
and it throws me
Yeah,
because then I find myself like sitting with the lyrics.
right. Or like wanting to sing along or whatever. Yeah, same. So I find like a lot of
Oh
soundtracks, like video game soundtracks, fantasy soundtracks, that kind of
yeah,
stuff, just to get the right mood. Um, and or try to find like a horror movie soundtrack sometimes to get into like the really
yeah,
creepy spaces. But
yeah. I found myself like really diving into like the Silent Hill soundtracks for when I was writing a lot
okay.
of horror episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Those ones were really good. And then recently I had a uh, opera episode session that I was doing with one of my other groups that I was DMing for them. And the opera was actually really nice,
Oh, cool.
which I know like typically we're like, no lyrics, but I'm like, I don't know Italian, so
Yeah,
I'm
you
kind of
can't
okay with
understand it
it.
anyways.
Kind of like, can't understand this, so this is fine.
Yeah,
Um, but it was really fun to
I'll have
do
to
that
try that.
one.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I thought about it when I was writing it. I was like, oh, I wonder if Nick like was listening to like opera or classical when
Mm.
he was writing out our Masquerade episode.
I was listening to a lot of classical music during that one. Yeah. Well, since we're bringing season one to a close, any parting thoughts, kind of in reflection of all of the themes that we've covered?
Uh, um, I think we dealt with some really big things as we were going through this season, specifically a lot of identity.
Mm-hmm.
And I know right now, in the time that we're living, identity is really hard, especially with feeling safe in expressing identity. Uh, and I truly hope that we were able to help people either feel seen, um, or at least make them feel like there's at least a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know for me personally, this gave me like a moment of reflection. I know that I have shared like I have a child who was non-binary, and with everything happening, it was definitely like been something very close to home for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that I have gained more understanding and empathy. Um, and not that I wouldn't have my own child in place, but it kind of gave me a new perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and I really appreciated that. And that was something that we talked about that is very important with coming through to tabletop games. Like even though it's a place to escape, it is also a place to grow and develop, um, and learn from different perspectives.
Yeah.
And I really hope that people were able to gain that from this season.
Mm-hmm. I would think so. I mean, for the record, you are already a very loving and understanding and compassionate parent. But I think there is that element of like when you role play, you get to just take a deeper dive, kind of personally. You reframe your own mind, your own way of thinking into a different character's consciousness, and it does. That has an effect on you. It lingers with you, and
Mm-hmm.
even the most open-minded people can always learn more and grow more in new ways that we're not even aware of, we're unaware of. So there is a lot of value to, I think, the practice of just role playing somebody you wouldn't understand otherwise. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, hopefully, even if we're able to help kind of provide safe space for people to think about those things or start those conversations in their own lives, or if we just can maybe at least inspire people to try to maybe step out of their comfort zone and role
Yeah,
play a character that is different from them and try to learn in the process.
yeah. I think that's like a big thing too. Like I know we've talked about it in several of our behind the veils. I like we'll rewatch our stuff and like sometimes like when we're editing, sometimes just kind of like look and be like, okay, what do we need to like capture? What do we need to like improve? Um, and I have caught myself several times saying like, hey, get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
As more of a challenge to give yourself room to grow, give yourself room to challenge yourself and explore different perspectives, uh, be in somebody else's shoes. Um, I think it's so important for personal development just to expand your horizons, your way of thinking, be open to different perspectives. Um, and I think that's where we see a lot of hangups now is that there is just this very narrow perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you limit that perspective and you don't broaden it, that's where we get a lot of the adversarial resistance now. And I
Mm-hmm.
just, sorry, this is a little bit of a stop line, but I just heard Alan be lazy again. All right. So we just have a little bit of a humor in there for both. It's all good. Um, but just that widened perspective, I think, really does benefit you on just more than just a personal level, but folks on a more global level as well.
Mm. Yeah, we live in strange times, and we tell strange stories, but hopefully, yeah, hopefully, there's a bright future on the horizon. I think there's a lot more people with a lot more in common than there are, hateful people out there.
Yeah.
Um, I think our next season we maybe be able to kind of explore that theme a little bit more,
Yeah.
which is something that I kind of look forward to. Like we said, we're going to have a bit of a different tone. We're not like going for full on comedy or anything, but as we continue to explore new perspectives and stuff, hopefully we can just tell those stories in fun and exciting ways too,
Mhm.
and learn a little bit more on the way.
Yeah, sure. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask you now, like, what are some of the things that you took away from this season?
Um, Honestly, I think maybe the the biggest thing for me is the danger of ambition, because that's something that's very personal to me. I feel like I've always been a very ambitious person when it comes to my career and the idea of success and all that stuff that kind of comes with adulthood. Um, so the idea that, like in our story, I feel like Quinn and Reeve's ambition, their passions, got in the way of them fully recognizing some of the things that are maybe the most important to them, like their relationship to Marin.
Mhm.
I feel like that should be a kind of like glaring warning sign for people, because it's something that I think I struggle with too. I get caught up in the goals that I'm pursuing and forget to really pay attention and focus on the things that I do care about the most, the people that I love. Um, so that to me was kind of like the theme that was present throughout this whole story, was that the things you tell yourself you want are not always the things you do necessarily want, and getting them doesn't always get you what you think you're going to get.
In it, my computer just stopped recording
Good thing
because
mine's
it said
recording
it was.
still.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Ooh, I just had a little panic attack. Okay. All
That's
right. We'll
your
keep going
computer
then.
telling us to wrap up.
I'm good to keep going. I just wanted to make sure that we had it somewhere.
Yeah, no, I'm good. We got everything recorded here.
Okay,
Truthfully, I
cool.
don't have a whole lot else to add. That was pretty much it. Just that I think ambition can be dangerous, and remember what is really important to you.
Yeah, I actually really like that though. I think that's so important too. Just the reality check of like, what are your true values?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Reflection's important for everybody. Something more people need to do is reflect on themselves, who they are, what they care about, and why.
Ooh, that like ties in very nicely. Reflection and identity.
Yeah, yeah. We accidentally told some really deep stories, I think.
No, I love that. I think those are really good final thoughts too, unless we've got something deeper we want to throw in for
I
folks.
don't. I am thoroughly exhausted mentally at this point. That was, yeah, it was a fun story to tell.
Yeah. I'm so glad people joined us for season one. super excited for season two. I can't wait to share with folks what we have planned and what's in store. Um, we'll probably take a little bit of a break while we get season two up and going. Um, again, I can't thank you enough, Nick, for asking me to join you on this and getting us started on Table for Two. Um, this has been a great ride.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Thank you as well for taking this journey. It's been yeah, it's been a really cool experience so far, and I'm excited to do some more of it. Yeah, and thank you everybody out there watching and or listening. Hope you've enjoyed everything so far. We've got a lot more in store, so stay tuned.
And with that, I've been Janna Harrison.
I've been Nick Kennedy. We'll see you when we're someone else.